Welcome to Pizza Break, where we talk about the session after the session. This was session 4. So yeah, that was a lot. There was a lot that happened. There was a lot of combat stuff.
Hey,
It was
yeah.
intense.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about
4
it.
is a number, it starts with F. F stands for fucked up, and that's what this last episode was.
Damn.
Exactly. And one of the things that was completely wild that happened this episode was Boris got to come out. Tell me,
Flex.
well, tell everyone
Tell us all.
about the Boris character.
Okay. So in New Orleans, basically Boris is a creature who has lived in the really?
Yeah, that happened.
Fix your nose.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
So Boris is a character, is a great big bear that has lived in the wilderness of New Orleans for just eons. He has been, since man even became, he has been the balancer of good and evil, which are the monsters that lurk in the wilderness of New Orleans, which is kind of set in a Victorian steampunk-esque era, very, very League of Extraordinary Gentlemen type style.
That's so cool.
Yeah, but it's all monochromatic.
Yes,
That's
and
cool.
the
Okay.
interesting thing is also the interesting thing is that people are genuinely good.
Okay.
And there aren't bad people, it's just bad monsters. There are monsters.
Okay.
And Mercy comes from a line of blood hunters, which are part of the Order of Boris, which is basically, so Boris comes and every lifetime to maintain the balance even after he is gone, he resurrects through a person every lifetime. Very Avatar-esque.
Yeah, it's very cool.
And Mercy is the person for this lifetime.
Nice.
So that is.
You are the current avatar.
Is there
I am the current avatar.
That is very cool.
That's so
I'm the current
badass.
avatar.
is there any connection between
Boris's
Maybe-
past lives?
maybe you can't tell us, but this Boris and the Queen's one of her titles is like last bled by Boris.
I
your
noticed
face when,
that.
when she said that, and you were like,
I
something.
noticed that.
oh, yeah.
Because I noticed that too. I really don't know. I'm kind of intrigued myself. Only
Let's
because.
all stare at David.
Yeah, only because, like, how would Boris fit into this realm? Like, I wouldn't have been aware that Boris would have had the ability to enter the City of Seasons and interact with the Queen of Summer.
Is he a trans-dimension being?
Great
Yeah.
question.
Because, well,
Right, where he could
I
have
was
been
going
a
to say
spirit.
Tuca, but
Yeah.
Boris is not Tuca. But it's like interesting that they're bears.
Well, he's definitely a
Bears.
spirit.
Bears.
Yeah.
We got a lot. Yeah, we got a lot of
exactly.
bears.
Bears.
Going
Very
yeah,
spirit.
we have a big bear
Yeah.
theme.
And he kind of reminds me of that, you remember the spirit bear from Mirage? From
Yeah.
New Mutants? You know, like that terrifying spirit bear? That's definitely what Boris reminds me of, with the glowing eyes like that. That's very cool. That description you gave was
Oh,
awesome
so
and
beautiful.
terrifying. So, yeah.
You know
very
what
cool.
else scares me? Fucking dream, soul, memory
Yeah,
eating.
devourers of
Yeah.
souls.
Devourer of
Devourers of
dreams.
Fuck you,
the
I got
Hydra.
Yeah.
chomped twice. You guys
Jeez.
forgot
And
about me.
whose
was,
fault was that? Ours, probably.
You made
Yeah.
yourself
Honestly.
very
Or the bad
distracted with all
dice.
that bright
Yes,
light.
I'm
Bad
again, Night
dice.
Protector.
We tried very hard not to forget you.
Yeah.
Night Protector, like,
Put it
And
in
who
the dice.
can
Well,
forget
don't
about
you forget
exploding
about
its
me.
head now?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Episode
That
had a lot-
happened.
It's so
Thank you.
good.
This episode had a lot of epic bad rolling, I think.
Yeah,
There's
man,
some
my
good rolling.
There's some good
Like,
ones.
we
We had
were
at least
swingy.
3
Yeah,
die
well-
in the dungeon.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
we
deck
had
saves,
dungeon dice.
deck saves, strength saves, and con saves are not my
Yeah,
friends.
initiatives.
Yeah,
Like,
and
I mean,
initiative.
inspirations
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So
So
many
as far as the dice telling a tale, ooh, it's been challenging.
Boy, it had quite the tale
Yeah.
to tell today.
How do you feel now as a human being physically from all of that
Oh
adrenaline
yeah, man.
dumping?
Yeah, right. I mean, really, you feel that, and honestly, the adrenaline definitely kicked in because I started thinking, okay, I've been swallowed up. I've got maybe a round to live. What am I going to do? How am I going to get out of this? I need to inflict enough damage to make sure that I make maximum impact. And then, so like, I started going through every bit of resources of my characters. And then also, when you guys made that monumental effort to free me and get me out of its mouth, bless you. That's when I definitely felt the pressure to make sure that I distracted it. You know, like when your arm was dislocated and
Yeah.
when she jumped up to save you, and you know, like that. It was great. It was just
There was a lot of
exhilarating,
catching
intense,
my fall. There was a
emotional.
lot of
Yeah.
love. There's a lot of Team Summer in this.
There's a lot of
episode.
Team Summer and a lot of what's that word?
much
What's
Team
that word I'm
Summer.
There it
thinking of?
goes.
Don't you
There it
dare.
comes.
1, 2, 3.
I'm just saying we're feeling it with energy, and it's
Oh.
summer.
Synergy!
Synergy! I love it so
You're gonna
much.
have a synergy jar where you
Yes.
Yeah. So the next episode of the show is going to be paid for by Bob saying the word synergy.
Absolutely.
Synergy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, just remember,
You know-
Team Summer, together, everyone achieves more. Synergy.
A little bit of my
Yeah,
soul
I
came
don't-
out.
I don't think any of us were expecting Mecha Saturday followed by
Right.
No, not
Devour
at all. Like
Dreams.
Saturday's just
Like,
coming out of nowhere.
Mecha Saturday and then
I was wrong. It wasn't
Was
just
he
stick
like
up.
Mega
like a
Saturday?
silver-
Yeah,
Does he
yeah,
have
he was
silver
being a
hands?
robot.
But,
Like-
no, he's
Wait, is that
a
what
Lord
he
of
arms?
Steel and
Three
Sorrow.
arms?
robot.
Yeah.
His robot legs? His legs.
But wait,
body
it
was,
was
like,
3
shattering
arms,
apart.
3 metal arms, right?
Yeah,
And then like, what's the base? What's the
So like the base of it is metal. It's almost like another body that has these armatures that are all, like coming off.
We
the
didn't
side.
really see his actual face.
Yeah, no, you guys
Yeah,
did not
we
see
only
it.
saw like the lower half.
So that has
pop out.
always been Saturday, is that thing, but he's just been
Yeah,
wearing
disguise.
the disguise
Been,
of...
I guess like wearing glamours.
The
on
question is for
themselves.
how long,
Right.
Yeah.
right? Like how long has this plan been in the works?
Yes.
well now we've got a new title
And it also
for him,
worries
too,
me
right?
because
Lord
he
of
was,
Steel
wasn't
and
he
Shadow.
helping the queen?
Lord of
or
Steel and
something?
Shadow,
Was there
yeah.
anyone, like infiltrating the
True.
queen? Has
Right.
he been messing with her?
Right.
I was worried
I
about
was
that.
Maybe
thinking
he's
army.
responsible for
I
the
was like,
corruption.
army?
The Krogar.
Possibly.
Why I
Lord
can't
of
stand them.
Steel and
Like a what is it?
Shadow.
Like a worm tongue
Army.
situation.
I
Yes,
mean,
definitely worked
He
off.
might not have even corrupted the Crow Guard. He's just the one giving the orders, so they're doing what he says because he's in charge,
Right.
right? So
Right.
he's just like kill these people, and they're like why, and he's like don't ask questions, and then you know,
That's a
it's
good
sort of
point.
like that hierarchical.
Right.
Because your world, the City of Seasons, it seems to operate from like a really hierarchical place where like these people have this power, these people, even you as like
The Knight.
a knight, and the full title hit me.
Knight of the Summer Court, member of the Sterling Guard,
That's the one, yeah.
Order of the
that
Iron Hammer.
puts you like higher up than some people. What happened?
Fighter
I didn't
of
say
karate
anything.
and French
Slinger of the.
for everyone.
Oh,
Everyone.
oh yeah. Our producer would like us to note that one of his titles is Slinger of the Shaft.
Of lights. It's lights.
Of lights.
It's lights.
Slinger of the
Yes,
Shafts
of
of
light.
lights.
Slinger of the shafts of light. Say that 6 times.
Slinger of the Shafts of light. Slinger of the Shaft.
Yeah. So,
Lights up.
in terms of everybody working together, that was another example of, I mean, just everything coming together. By the way, man, your Godzilla rising up out
Yeah,
of the
that
ground,
was great.
over
How
everything was
epic
so
that was.
epic.
Destruction.
I didn't call it a Godzilla, but I
course
mean,
not.
it was.
Your
pretty-
kaiju.
pretty
How about that?
cool.
Let's
Yeah.
just say your
It was
kaiju.
kind of like a dragon. And if I made up a word for a robot, I might pick something like sword.
I was simply inspired by the Mecha Saturday
Yes.
to make a
Mecha
Mecha
Saturday.
dragon sword.
Everything Piper did was epic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you jumping over to save his life. That was awesome.
Muchas gracias. I appreciate the save.
Yeah.
Little black beast here just biting into me and sucking my memories.
I
Yep.
feel
Sucking
like
up all
Kiki
my
might
Not
be
pleasant.
falling in love with Blossom a little bit.
Makes sense.
Love me.
Well, she did completely stop going after the guy with the word to save Blossom. Like, you know, again, and you even said that before.
that was so
Come hell or high
powerful.
water,
It
your
was so
friends
powerful
matter.
to put that
It's still
Blossom
on
as
there.
a
Yeah.
friend.
Yes.
I
Blossom
think that
was
is
my
so
friend. That was
powerful.
very cool.
Especially after having told you that backstory of just like how important it is to have friends.
Yes.
It was very
Yeah.
No, I love that scene. That was
was
one
awesome.
of my favorite like scenes of the,
Yeah,
of
that
the
was a great
evening.
one.
Very endearing.
That was
Blossom's
awesome.
super.
I
super
loved
awesome.
that Boris of everybody remembered Damon.
That was really
made
fucking
me
cool.
happy.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Boris,
Yeah.
For
that
such
was
a
such a
contrast.
good use of like
The shiny
why
thing.
would he?
Yes.
That was really cool.
Oh,
Like
the
it's not a
shiny
person.
friend.
It doesn't
Yeah.
like one. Boom.
The shiny
I love that you're like, I
Oh.
trust you, the shiny man.
Yeah, I trust you.
shiny-
The
the
shiny
shiny
man
man.
is my friend.
Shiny man is my friend.
Your
I do not
shiny-
like him, and yet he is my friend.
Boris is
Yeah,
like,
that was
your
awesome.
shiny friend
Yes.
is in that mouth. It's like, oh, I have
Oh,
a shiny
fuck.
friend.
And then I gotta punch him out.
Yes.
Yeah, those
That was
3
awesome.
punches or so. That first, the one where
Ooh, yeah.
everyone
Yeah, the
landed
first
and it
round was
oh,
Gave him a bloody knuckle
Yeah,
sandwich.
quite good.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So
Right on my
those kind
nose.
of details that make it
That's right.
so
Yes.
it's so amazing.
Put a
My
little sauce on
nuts.
it.
Yeah.
Give him a little sauce.
A little sauce on that knuckle sandwich.
So, I guess like when we play, it's all theater of the mind, and we don't like use maps. How do you guys feel about like maps versus theater of the mind? Like, what are your preferences? Things
Oh,
like
man.
things like that.
Okay. Is it cool if I say words?
Of course.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
I don't want to jump on anybody, but like half of my brain and half of my soul left my body during that last session. So
It was intense.
I'm of two minds about it.
Uh-huh.
I fucking personally, I hate maps because instead of focusing on what's happening and getting like into my mind, I'm counting squares and counting movement and stuff like that.
Yeah.
However, there's a lot of folks I play with that have a hard time visualizing, and they're not as good at processing auditory stuff. So I like to go in like the halfway place where like I have a map, but it doesn't have distances on it. It's just relative to be like, this is where stuff is.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you know how to interact with the environment. You know where like the bad guys are going to be standing and where you guys are going to be standing. But I don't like, if I'm running something, I don't like to make my players like count distance. I'm just like, yeah, you get to them, rock it out.
Thank you for always helping us if I ask, like, what's going on right now?
Yeah,
because I miss things all the
helps
time.
a lot.
Yeah, I miss things constantly.
And that's where you also have a particular skill and a talent at things, David, is because you are so descriptive, right? And again, for storytelling, it's extremely important to be descriptive and to paint that picture of the mind where we know that buildings are rising and falling, and so she can
Heads are
climb
popping
and Piper can hop up on different buildings and see what's coming from different areas with heads erupting out of different parts of the town or the village. Things like that absolutely matter. But then also that's where the maps also help, because sometimes people aren't as descriptive, and so they might not give the description of this particular building here or that building. And I'll be the first to raise my hand because I don't always remember to talk about everything in the environment, and so that way the players can see what's on the maps. But you're absolutely right. People get bogged down by the grids and squares, and it slows down the game. And that's one thing I love Theater of the Mind, because everything, it moves faster.
Yeah.
It moves much faster.
And the visual of the miniatures too is just kind of like, as cute as they are, it kind of can
miniatures.
take me away sometimes from the mind movie part.
We love minis.
Said, though,
we love our minis.
But it's nice to have a quick reference on where things are.
I mean,
in
all
case
of that,
you forget.
all of that said, though, I think that any game should be as accessible to the people playing it as they need it to be.
Yes.
So some people,
100%
it
agree.
truly helps them to
Yes.
count the distance and to because they have things that say like, it does this, I do this many feet, and a lot of people really like to lean into that. And if that's the case, like at your table, you got to go with that
you
because
should
this
go with
is
that.
this is a game. We're supposed to have fun, and it should be fully accessible to everybody who's at the table playing. However, you have to do that, and if everybody's cool with Theater of the Mind and that's what they like, then that's awesome, and that's my personal preference. But if I'm playing with people that really need that rigidity, then yeah, like let's get the DM to throw down some maps, let's throw down some grids, let's throw down whatever you need so that everybody can be kind of playing at the same level, right? Like you don't want one person to be like, wait, where the fuck am I? What is happening? I don't understand what's happening. I was listening, but it just like went out. Yeah, I think that that's okay. I think that whatever, whatever everybody, whatever everybody
enough
agrees
trouble with
on.
math.
I know.
Yeah.
Already hard.
Whatever everybody agrees on, I think is the direction to go in. So like personal preference, Theater of the Mind all day.
Depends on the
but
game.
Secondary personal preference depends on the game. Depends on the people at the table.
Yes.
I would agree with that. I've played it both ways, and like I've done a lot of Theater of the Mind. I've done a lot of the boards and stuff too. The boards are really fun, and when you got the whole setup there, that can be like really cool. From going back and forth between the two, I would say I maybe feel like my creativity is a little bit more unfettered when I'm doing Theater of the Mind, and like because you're giving those like awesome descriptions, before you even ask, really like, oh, we can always say like, let me do a perception check, or you'll be like, just make a perception check, but then you kind of reveal like kind of like a pulse, like you reveal like the immediate like surroundings just spreading out from us, and based on the description we get an idea, and then we can of course say, is this pretty close to me or is it far away? And I judge, I kind of mentally judge that as like, if it's really far away, I'm use like a 120-foot thing, versus like if it's pretty close to you, okay, so within 30 feet I can get to it like in a turn. And I don't know, for me, like I can, and we're all like really creative people here, we all use our imagination a lot, so I think we have a pretty good synergy, like just
Thank you. Yes.
Just into the synergy chart in general. Yeah,
We're
there's
good.
three.
We're good at like building
Goosebumps.
off each other, right? Like we could be like, is Blossom close to me? Yes. And is she close to the thing? Yes. All right, then I can do this because of my relationship to how close she is. And then we can just like do that. And if we had like a board in the middle of the room, well, I don't think that would be bad. I feel like we would definitely spend time counting squares. We're already spending time counting numbers, or faster than that. So I like Theater of the Mind.
Yeah, and in all seriousness, as a player for a very long time, a lot of times we can get bogged down in the grid, right? We can get bogged down in the numbers and in the minutia. And I absolutely love, Kaylee, that you as a new player are not bogged down and overwhelmed by the numbers and the counting and your descriptions of the things that you want to do when you are throwing a javelin.
So good.
It's so great. It is so fantastic because you are bringing a lot of fresh creativity to a game where, again, vets, because they've been so beaten, I don't want to say beaten down, but like we are forced a lot of times to play by certain rules, and you still have this freshness and this creativity that is not in the box, right? And so you're still thinking out of the box, which is a wonderful thing for D&D. And then when David absolutely goes with it, it's so refreshing and wonderful. And that's when everybody gets super charged up by that. And again, your ideas, your descriptions, that's what gaming is all about, right? It's all about fun and story and synergy coming together for each other.
Again.
So
We're
Don't
waiting
make
for
this
it.
a drinking game.
Really?
It's
I've
really
never played
dangerous.
before.
I'd beat you.
In fact, I didn't
Yeah.
know what you were talking about at first.
Oh.
Until I realized, it's Stranger Things. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do you have your miniatures look like us? Like, how would you do that? Do people spend a lot of time?
Yeah, you
making
pretty
their
much
material
do.
before
Yeah,
they
Jordan
start
spends a
playing?
lot of
A
time.
lot of painting,
Okay.
There's a
a
whole,
lot of
yeah,
time.
there's a fortune to be
A lot
spent
of
in
crossed
that.
eyes.
There is.
Fortune.
Okay, I
Bob's
was
got a
wondering.
couple.
I was like,
Just
would you
gentle.
create all your monsters ahead of time
Thousands.
and have those available?
Yeah.
Okay. See, that's a
Yeah.
lot
Couple.
therapeutic. I really respect the
It is really fun.
investment.
It is really
the
fun, but it
investment
does
in
hurt my
that
eyes.
is something so much more. But I mean, I guess it's not as accessible as right?
Yeah.
Love
it.
And Bob, you
Love
said
it.
something I really liked when you were talking about Kaylee like doing a thing and then everybody kind of jumping on that. That's something that like I think is a really important conversation in the tabletop thing is giving yourself, each other, and your players permission to do shit.
Yes.
So like when you do something like that and David accepts it, that gives everybody else permission to do something out of
Yes.
the box as well, right?
Yes,
and we're
and.
constantly it's yes and yeah. And it is like, but it's like handing off the baton
I
in
think
So
you're the
good.
a
master
relay
of that.
race.
So
And like
good.
having played because
Yeah.
I've never
I would
watched
say
other
master,
people do
but
that.
it's
Yeah, I
definitely
felt very
not
limited by the rules of D&D, but I didn't realize I didn't need to be limited. And so playing with you made me realize I could do so many things.
I might not be the best example
Thank you.
because I mentioned yesterday or whatever other episode of this that I'm just like, fuck the rules.
No, but that's the beauty of it. It's,
Nuts.
like, it's so non-traditional. It's not like I have to do this or this or this. I could do so many different things, or my character would be so many different things. It's like, yeah.
You
Well-
can buy flat screens and
Yeah.
You build a
yeah.
world that's like, what?
And
This
Pop-Tarts?
is amazing.
Yeah,
Like,
and Pop-Tarts.
Again, I was thinking like some kind of
Bust through
And it
mazes
just-
Tavern
on
mazes.
roller skates.
it creates so many cool things for us. Like it did. I think that world, especially because we were all not in traditional worlds, but like your world is very different than
well,
anything else.
and in addition to that,
your world.
that's the whole point of this is again when we're bringing in robots and mechs and shadows and devourers of spirits and light speed ships and all these different genres together. That is so exciting.
That's really fun. Yeah,
Yes.
it's not
Yeah,
something
cool.
like
Yes.
if you're new to playing role playing games and stuff. That's not something that happens that often. Like it takes somebody. David, you're gonna blush. It takes somebody running the helm of this thing to really open those possibilities
Yes.
up and to have the forethought and the creativity
Yes.
to like open those doors and be like, hey, this is kind of the base, but like you can go everywhere.
Yeah.
That's both a gift and a curse because
Yes.
you literally were like, do whatever, and you gave us a bunch of parameters, but you didn't give us a box. You gave us a platform.
Yes.
And we could see everything from that platform. It was just a question of which way to dive. And I was like, I don't fuck shit. Like that was like it was yeah.
He was like, "What world are you from?" And we're like, "Ooh, we get
Whoa, we
I
get
know,
to,
we're like,
we
yeah,
get to
anything?
choose. Yeah.
that. Ooh.
Yeah.
We get choices.
Yes. Anything
Yeah.
we wanted to be. So yeah, that was wild.
That's the way we need. I don't know if we're allowed to sing these songs. I'm pretty sure there's like a 6-second limit.
It's a 7 second
Yeah,
limit. We're fine.
Good.
Who's
We're getting
singing-
some head
who's singing
shakes
on
back
karaoke?
Yeah, we're fine.
Somebody-
We're fine.
Yeah, no.
words.
Banana costing money.
All right.
So, David, let me bounce that back to you. Like, what gave you the inspiration to kick down those like doors of confinement and be like, I want to do this game with a world filled with other worlds, and I want my players to have the freedom to do anything they want. and then I'll rein them in. Like how? Like where'd that come from?
So again, I think we talked about it in like one of the first pizza breaks. Is a lot of the inspiration for this game in particular comes from Neverending Story. And
Never-ending story.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, sorry, keep
Done.
But the
Turn around.
oh my gosh.
Bright eyes.
So there's a I know
Awesome,
hard.
sing that one at karaoke. Thank you.
those scenes with all of those interesting creatures. I remember seeing it when I was really young, and watching. I'm like, what would that world be like? Just having all of these different like fantasy realms, all of these different imagined places, kind of sharing a single space, and I thought that was amazingly cool. And then I guess kind of being like, well, I'm gonna have this world, but you guys all get to be from this one fantasy place, and then these other people will be from all of these other places. I guess that didn't really like feel like it would be true to that, like the spirit of that particular story. So I wanted you guys to be able to kind of like do whatever you wanted. And what's been wonderful is you guys have been so creative, and the worlds that you've brought to the game have made it quite easy for me to run this game because there's so much that there. When we talk about Flogging Vale and New Orleans and Arcade City, you've got all of these like marvelous places that are so wonderful and so full. And I mean, it makes kind of pulling from these things a joy, which makes it it's lots of fun.
Was there ever a point where you were like, go do whatever you want, where you went, ooh, hello? Like, was there ever a point where you were like, I'm scared of what they're gonna do?
I think that I was actually terrified there was going to be a Voltron one, because I think it's really hard to do in D&D.
Yeah.
Like if there was like
that was one of my ideas.
Whoa. You're the one that
It
said you could
was.
have robots coming together, right? So again, you guys are making fun of me for these words, but notice that there's 5 of us here. It is.
No.
And by the way,
Voltron.
I just want to let you guys know. Remember how David asked us, what did we want to do in game? Like, what did we want to accomplish in game?
change
All that
it.
fun stuff.
2.
I never gave my answer,
1.
but he was the one that said it.
That's like $1 now.
Yeah, that was one of my, when I was trying to come up with character concepts, that was one of my initial concept, was like a hero of justice, like full
Super Sentai.
Super Sentai
Yeah.
with robot thing. Yeah.
And I was terrified I was gonna have to make that. I was so genuinely afraid that you would be like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and I would be like, yeah, that's totally cool, and then I'd be like, I gotta fucking let's go.
Hey.
Let's go.
Luckily, I became a different kind of problem.
I love
The best
Arcade
kind of
City.
problem.
Arcade City is so
Arcade
cool.
City is amazing.
It's such a cool world.
We gotta make sure we save it.
It's
And
gone
the
as far as I
summer
know.
I want to go
don't-
to Arcade City.
Yes.
If we can get it back, we can all go to Arcade.
We're bringing
I
it.
want to
Guys,
go
we're
shopping
bringing
in
it back.
Arcade
We have,
City.
as long as we can save the childlike empress, we can restore.
But we're gonna give her a much better name.
We can restore the
Yeah.
realm.
Yes.
What was the name in that? What name?
What name did they give her? Fact checker.
Nobody remembers.
It's wild because it's so.
I feel like he
It's so
whispered
relevant,
it.
but
It's
nobody
so-
remembers.
Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah.
because she says,
It's something
"Call my
Moonchild."
name."
Is that it?
Yes.
No.
And none of us understood what he said.
Yes.
Because
I'm
he
supposed to understand.
he shot-
It's a show.
Go ahead and answer that. No, tell us.
He
What's back
shot
there?
something.
Moonchild.
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 You're not supposed to-
Moonchild.
the director, like, intentionally in the audio mix, blasted over it so nobody would hear it. So it would be a MacGuffin that
Ah.
nobody ever knew.
He was a MacGuffin that no one
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's
It
also a
was a
book.
big
Don't they give
MacGuffin.
her a
What did
name
you
in the
what
book?
did
Yeah,
you say?
Blueberry
Same
McGuffin.
name.
But in the
First
book,
name.
but in the book, isn't it the name of his mom?
Moonchild is the name that his mom's nickname. But it's like
Right,
the very
but it's
first
about
name.
his mom. Yeah, it's like at
Yes.
the beginning. Like it's
Yeah.
a, yeah.
Child was happy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, so very cool. And then the
That was
dragons
a
arrive.
huge tangent, but
That was amazing. I love
like
that. I
there'd be a
could so.
Moonchild in that.
I've always I never looked it up, and I never thought to look it up. And I always wanted to know her name. And I think when I was a kid, when I watched that movie, and I had it on VHS, and I burned
Yes,
that tape
yeah.
out.
I
Like,
melted
Yeah.
that thing
Yes.
down.
and I just I never knew what her name was whenever I played it.
As like a kid though, I was never like, what is her name? I was like, yeah, that makes sense. He
Yeah,
said her name.
yeah.
Everything's
Yeah.
good. Like it just totally accepted.
Only
it,
as
didn't
I get it.
think
we
about
want
it.
to know
Yeah.
her name.
But honestly, after this, I'm very excited to get to the Hall of Tales
Oh,
and speak
absolutely.
with Lore Master LeVar
Oh
and
my gosh.
find out
That'd be so
about.
cool.
This is
What
something
the
that my
F
brain
is
has been trying
happening?
to understand. Is the hall is it through where the monsters' heads are coming out? We're gonna have to go through that?
Yeah, we're gonna have to. We can go around it, but
Yeah,
there's
Okay,
like
yeah.
we could go around. Okay.
there's like a we're on basically on like what the way I understand it. And David, totally correct me.
Yeah.
But like we're in a section where it's like a bunch of segments of what was once a landscape. They're
Some
kind
things
of
are
broken
falling.
apart at
Okay.
different heights and stuff, but they're still close together. And it's kind of, if you were to take a city and just go "Hua" with it, and all the pieces
Yeah,
kind
and
of
then they
bounced
just
around.
stuck in the
They
air.
just kinda
That's
stuck.
perfectly. That's
Gotcha.
perfectly.
Gotcha.
accurate.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we've
So
got to
we
make
can
our way.
around. But we
I was
still
thinking
don't.
of-
I figure,
we still don't
I'm
have
thinking the
words. We
library
also
is like the
still don't have
ivory
to-
tower,
we need to go
right?
back
It's
to
like
that.
the
That's
last,
sort of what I
the
was
last
thinking, too.
bastion
Yes.
on a like on a floating piece of island. It's like bum, bum, bum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ba-na-na-na-na.
There it
Lamar
is.
waits for
There
us.
it is, the library. Did we get the password?
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna get it. We're
Yeah,
gonna
we
get
got it mostly.
You guys
Watu, Verada.
We go,
Yeah.
we go,
Um,
let us in. Nothing happened.
So one
Please let us in.
One of the things I'm very, very interested in seeing is whether or not, I guess, like the Lord of Steel and Sorrow, if they found the fellow that ran
Yeah.
away, or if they found Corinne. Or,
I've been thinking about that the whole time. I literally,
Oh, yeah.
I
So
made
what
it.
did he say? Because he said something before he vanished, wasn't he? He
So
like,
tired.
I'm done.
I'm done with this place, or like I'm ready
Yeah.
to leave, or something like
Yes,
that.
I'm
So
wondering
I
how
think he
long
said
he's
yada
been-
yada does
Yeah,
If
yeah.
he teleported, if
I-
he, why would he teleport?
Because
Like
he's
right there. He
going
just
Because
walked.
he left the
He got out
outside.
of our business. I made
Yeah, so
the
he
like the
probably didn't go
conscious.
for them.
That's one of like the benefits and downsides of also being behind the screen sometimes is like I know some of what you're putting down, so I like knew in that moment like fuck, I either have to make a choice between saving Blossom or saving our ship and the people on it.
Oh
And
no.
that shows
But you already even established, again, even when we all talked about this stuff, and in terms of me trying to save that guy's life, you're like, look, if it comes
If it
down
comes
to
down
somebody
to it,
else, it's
yeah.
it's
And
us.
it maybe came down to it. It really depends
Oh, yeah,
on
definitely.
what the dice say and
Yeah.
what God back there says.
But we don't know. The
But
ship
in this case, I will never question that. I mean, as far as we
I made
all,
the best choice.
You did.
Yeah,
you made the
I
best
agree with
choice.
that.
Shit.
You saved
But-
us. You saved us. I mean, we all saved each other.
We
Yeah.
did.
And
Oh,
if we
Branson's
if we had just like collectively
Yeah, I
ran
do
away,
too. But
then next time we
I don't
may have
want
had to deal with a
Oh my God, my brain is
frailing
not-
version of a Hydra, which I
Yeah.
just
Oh my
imagine
gosh.
to be way harder to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
So-
it takes over one of those heads, it's in his head.
Well, certainly keep that image in your mind. And
yeah, while I go to sleep tonight.
I know you guys have a lot more questions, and we again have more answers. But thank you very much for sharing imaginary pizza here at Pizza Break.
See,
Yeah. Hey, don't forget to like,
it's a
yeah,
floppy
subscribe,
piece of
Like and
pizza.
subscribe.
Yeah, do those things.
and support us on
Yeah.
Patreon.
And also check out Patreon. Their buttons. There's so many buttons.
Yeah.
I'm covered in
It's
buttons.
probably right here.
Hey,
Oh.
show them the buttons.